Who are you?
Henry Rollins.
Henry, welcome to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Thank you.
Here you are doing something with Dinosaur Jr. Could you please explain?
Well, the band will be playing their 1988 album Bug in its entirety in sequence. And before they go out to do that, I will be interviewing them for 8 to 15 minutes.
And I was thinking, Henry, you're here in Vancouver. I should give you a gift that relates to Dinosaur Jr. to help you with your presentation.
You don't have to give me anything. You've given me so much over the years already.
Well, I have something for you, Henry. It's Lou Barlow's 7-inch Lou Barlow and Friends released on a Vancouver label, Mint Records.
Fantastic.
Are you delving into any of this when you're doing stuff with Dinosaur Jr., like the solo stuff that goes on? Because Lou's done some great stuff, like he covers Bryan Adams on this.
No, I've been keeping it to Dinosaur Jr. just because they're together on stage. We do address solo pursuits, but only in the context of the chemistry of Dinosaur Jr.
How has the reaction been going?
So far, people have been very, very tolerant of listening to Q&A when they probably really want to listen to music.
Has this ever been done before? Like, it's quite unique. It's not unique having spoken word open up for rock and roll, but like an interview for rock and roll.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen it, but they asked me, and I said sure, because I like to see the band play. And usually when they're on tour, I'll see them 3 to 4 times per tour. So this is an opportunity for me to see them every night, which I do.
Henry Rollins, you're in Vancouver, Canada, but I thought I'd give you yet another gift from Victoria, BC, the biography of the Dayglow Abortions. Do you ever remember those guys at all?
Sure, of course.
Did you do any gigs with them, or have you ever encountered them live?
I think we either played that Western Front in San Francisco, that Western Front festival, well, whatever it was, outdoors for sure. And I think we played with them at least there, and maybe we played a show either in Vancouver or out on the island with them. Because I just remember the singer doing a song where he kept screaming, "My shit stinks," over and over again. And I thought they were really good. And that's all I remember.
It's a great book, and you actually learn that the singer Cretin later went on to develop the MP3. He helped develop the MP3.
Well, hopefully it's earned him a few meals.
That's by Chris Walter. And this actually is a picture of the poster, the billboard outside a gig you played in Victoria with Black Flag, taken again by Bev Davies.
Yeah, I bet that would be 1982 or 84.
That's one of my favorite pictures ever that Bev has taken. I just love the were there a lot of banners like that put up outside your gigs?
Sometimes, because they didn't, quite often the venues were like
the old age pensioners hall.
Exactly. And in America they have the Eagles Club, pensioners basically. And quite often the people who ran the place were not interested in the music. They wanted the money. And when they saw what was coming into their venue, these are very ancient men, very angry. And they would see the clientele, and they would get very hostile to the point of trying to pull the show. And we would have to calm them down and go, "No, this is going to be fine." And of course it wasn't. The toilets would get wrecked, and it was a nightmare. And quite often the local kid or someone putting on the show would come up with like 3 bed sheets and do something exactly like that.
Bev went into the gig in Victoria, of course, and she took a photo. So there is you, Henry Rollins, in Victoria.
That's 82 for sure.
Not many tattoos.
No. 83, I started working on that arm, I think. But this, I remember this because I had stopped cutting my hair in New Orleans. And that is definitely 1982, because there's Emil, and that seals it. He was our drummer for the 82 summer tour. Yeah, I've never seen that photo before. That's great.
Henry Rollins, thanks for speaking to me, Nardwuar, Human Serviette. My friend Mark told me about Black Flag. He said he learned how great Black Flag was from the song Jealous Again because Ken Chin, Chai Pig of SNFU, said, "You gotta go get that record." And then Mark told me, "Man, you gotta go get Jealous Again." Are you into it all, SNFU?
I don't know how much I've heard of them. They've been around forever, but I'm not aware of their music.
And I'm going to help you with that right now, Henry, because we have a documentary all about Chai Pig from SNFU for you, Henry Rollins.
Wow, I appreciate that.
Henry Rollins, when you're with SOA, where did you guys practice?
Sometimes we would practice at Mike Hampton's parents' house, or Wendell Blow's parents' house, or Simon Jacobson's parents' house. And then when Simon left the band to go to school, we would practice at the vice president's house, because the drummer, Ivor, his father worked on the property. And we would walk right up to the gate, Secret Service. And, this is pre-9/11, pre-1811. And we would walk in, and we wouldn't even have to sign in. They just recognized us as the sullen people with our punk rock look. And we would walk up to the vice president's mansion and make a left to a smaller place, which was Ivor's, where I guess the caretaker would live, go down to the basement and practice there. And one time we even brought the Necros there, so they wanted to watch us practice. And so those were the practice places that I'm aware of.
Henry, there's that comic out there, Henry and Glenn Forever. You've seen that one, haven't you?
I've only seen the cover, but I've never looked inside the pages.
Because you're quoted on the back. It's about Henry Rollins and Glenn Danzig, and it says, quote, "Has Glenn seen this? Trust me, he would not be impressed."
Yeah, Glenn doesn't have... I don't think he has a real wide berth for humor. And something like that would really, I think, get him going. Where I don't care. I believe in the First Amendment. But I think Glenn would not take it well. And so I venture to guess there.
How would you describe it for people that haven't seen it all? Glenn and Henry Forever. Like, you didn't see the whole thing. How would you describe it?
Well, I can describe the cover. I think it's a drawing of Glenn and someone who looks like me on it. Am I rubbing Glenn's shoulders or something? I forget. I sign it. People give me a copy to sign, and I obediently sign the front cover, but I've never looked inside. I really don't feel the need.
Henry, do you remember the last time we talked about 13 years ago?
Uh-huh.
What do you remember about that at all? Your
Your breath stank.
How is it today?
It's much better. Thank you for flossing.
I use mints.
Excellent. And you don't look a great deal different than you did then, in that you seem to be holding up marvelously. And I thought you were a friendly but extremely ridiculous person who was wasting your life.
So how have I done? Am I still wasting my life?
It's really, 13 years has given me a chance to travel the world and see many things, many countries, many continents. And at this point, I don't really think that I can really sit in judgment of anybody seeing what I've seen and failing and passing as I have. And so I say at this point, to each his own. If this is the path you've carved out for yourself, it can't be any better or any worse than anything I've done for myself.
Well, I appreciate you speaking to me, because for the past 13 years, I've been trying to get another interview with you, Henry.
I appreciate your interest.
One thing that I do remember particularly about that particular interview was a photo I asked you about, again taken by Bev Davies, of you at the New York Theater.
Mm.
And you were describing something about how your hand had been wrapped up. It's not in that shot, but it was something about you punching a guy. What do you remember about that particular shot, or that gig at all, or that era?
Well, this hair length, I judge all this stuff by hair length. This would be 84. And I think that's the last time, I don't know if Black Flag played Vancouver past that. I mean, the hair would be 84, 85, or 86 as far as length. The shorts would be, well, those are just gym shorts I used to use. So
Do you still have those, or did those shorts get lost? You mentioned your shorts getting lost.
Lost in the mists of time. And obviously I had been sweating, so I could take a flyer and stick it to myself. Or that it could be a fanzine. It looks like a fanzine. And maybe they said, hey, can you do a photo with our fanzine? And that's what I would have done. That looks like pre-show as far as my hair being wet. But past that, I don't... if it was a lighter exposure... Well, you see that road case? if that's ours, that might be 85 when Greg got some better gear and he actually got some road cases. So I don't know, but
That's incredible. You can notice dates by road cases.
well, I just remember when we kind of got an upgrade in gear.
Well, I guess I should think that's kind of obvious because you'd be carrying the road cases. You'd get to know them pretty well, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we were the road crew, and that would be stage right. That would be Greg's side of the stage. And that would look like the kind of shirt Greg would wear, the kind of button-up utilitarian TV repairman get-up. But for when I look at photos of myself, I have to tell chronologically by either tattoo or hair length. Because in 82 or 83, I kind of stopped cutting my hair. And so that would be 84, 85, or 86. And past that, there were times in my life, they're over now, where years would go by and my face would not really change, when you're youthful. Now, not so much.
If you heard something and you really liked it, would you ever think about stepping in and doing vocals? Do you think you could ever do vocals for Blackface?
No, I don't want to do music. Chuck already asked me if I would play with him. And I like Chuck, I just don't want to do music.
Would you do a couple gigs? Or what do you mean, like he'd want to play with you? What sort of thing is he thinking about?
Well, I think Chuck wants to get together and write songs and make a band and go out on the road. And I am real busy doing other stuff. And for myself, I just don't see the point of going out and doing any more music.
Ron Reyes, who lives in Vancouver, as I mentioned, showed a picture of him. He recently had his 50th birthday party. Did you hear about that?
I did.
And he had Greg come up and they did a couple songs. That was pretty great.
I hope so.
Yeah, just curious. Do you think anything like that would happen at all for Black Flag again? Like you did the big thing with the West Memphis 3, like Greg came up and did the thing with Ron for his 50th, and are you guys all in your 50s now? Like, do you think when you're 50, things all get patched up or are ready to rock?
I am 50 years and like 7 months old, 8 months old. I was born in February, so 50-point-something years old I am. And I have no interest in delving back into that bit of past. And I don't think there's any age where things patch up. Since Greg Ginn has never paid any member of Black Flag a royalty or given any member of Black Flag even a royalty statement, I think there's probably quite a bit of animosity between himself and some of the band members. There are some of these people who are owed money. If anything, they're at least owed an accounting. I mean, that's just good principle. Ron wrote me and told me that he's not mad about it, but that's very big of him, but he's owed money. And so some of the people in the band are not doing all that well from what I've been told, and some money that they are owed would be helpful. I'm very fortunate. I don't need the money. So I don't really have any real heat with it in that I'm trying to get on with things happening right now. As far as going back into time and reforming, that holds no interest for me whatsoever.
Well, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it, Henry. I was wondering, could you give a shout out to O from the Makeup Sex and Olive Lawn and Fluff? Because he helped set up this entire interview, didn't he? O.
Yeah, O asked me, would you do an interview with Nardwuar? He really wants to do it. And I thought of you, and I have nothing against you. So I said, sure. So I guess I guess he got on his cell phone and he contacted your people, your staff at your compound, and we put the whole thing together. You brought in your camera crew and lit it up, and here we are.
Yeah, and I guess I wanted to ask you a couple more quick things here, Henry, about the last interview that I did with you. Do you remember at all the allusion to the soup can at all?
No.
Well, I guess you have to go back and review the tapes. But what it was an allusion to, it was an allusion to nudity. And what I was wondering about, I have heard that Honcho magazine in the 1970s and 80s paid money for punk rock singers to pose for them. Did you ever know about anything about like that happening?
Not to me. I've never heard of the magazine. I've never posed naked. And I don't know if homosexuality is not of my interest as far as, checking out the videos, the photos, or the activity. So I have no idea about Honcho. I betcha if there's any punk rockers who are naked in Honcho, wouldn't we be able to find them on the internet?
Well, actually, I think they might be in that book about the Dayglow abortions. I remember reading that in Chris Walter's book, so I guess you can read about it.
Okay.
Well, I hope you get a chance to read the book.
Why, thank you.
Because I really want you to have all these gifts and to help with some of your interviews you're doing with Dinosaur Jr.
I'm a guy on the road, so you're now saddling me with all this weight that I have to carry over a border.
Have you had some interesting border inspections this lastly here, Henry, like walking through the border? I once interviewed Johnny Rotten, and he told me the border guard that was frisking him had a mohawk.
That was a very adroit subject change, Nardwuar.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Henry Rollins. Anything else you want to add to the people out there at all?
No, thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Henry. Keep on rocking in the free world, and do.
Thank you. How long do you hold on to the pose for? This is like credits rolling.